Hey, brother Miles Xavier. Oh shit, there's a countdown.
Hey yo.
There's too much technology happening right now. That's the problem.
Hey, bro. It's a problem until it's a problem. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna see how this turn out.
We're gonna see how it turns out. I'm excited though. I'm excited. I feel like every week we're trying different things to be able to increase the quality of this, and I hope the audience can appreciate that and see that.
It's all for y'all. That's all it's for, really. You know, we don't like technology. We'll be cavemen talking to each other in the cave, but we trying to bring this to you the best way we could. You know what I mean?
We got to give the people what they want.
Yes, sir. We out here.
We
Hope it's
got to give the people what they want, man. And what the people want, Miles Xavier, is more of the All the Way Live podcast. So we welcome absolutely everybody for joining us today on this wonderful, wonderful, wonderful day, man. This is always a pleasure to come here on this mic and chop things up with you, my brother, my best friend.
back again. They tried to stop us. They don't know that. We ain't gonna tell them too much about that. But we back. Couldn't stop us.
For sure, for sure. You know, there's a lot of obstacles that have to be overcome on a weekly basis in order to be able to get this content out on the time that we say we're gonna do it every week. And you know, we've been true to our words since we said it, man.
See, for y'all, I'm gonna just keep pointing out everything that we do for y'all, just so y'all can show love, man. It's about to be Valentine's Day. We supposed to be about love anyway. We're gonna point out all the reasons we love y'all and all the things that we do just for y'all.
And one of the things that we do just for y'all is put together carefully curated shows, man. And how we've broken those shows down is into three different sections. That is Stumble Upon, Current News, and Recommended and Review. Now, in Stumble Upon, me and Miles break down things, thoughts, and ideas that have inspired us, caught our attention over the week. These are things that we find to be dope to talk about. We bring that to you and we chop that up. And this week, there's clearly people want to understand and hear us talk about all of this jewelry in the hip hop industry, namely some people implanting diamonds in the middle of their head.
This ain't that new though. Females been doing like the little stud things. I remember they was doing back dimples. This ain't that new.
You see, and with that type of insight from my co-host Miles Xavier, you can tell we got a good show. Then from there we go to current news. Now in current news, we take what's at the very top of the news thermometer and we bring that down. And this week we're going to be touching on Jeff Bezos stepping down from Amazon. What does that mean? Whoop-de-whoop. What we think about it. We got some insight, some interesting takes on that I'm excited to be able to talk about with you. And then last but not least is recommended and review. Now this part of the show personally is my favorite, but is where we get to interact with y'all, man. People.
Why you?
I thought you were gonna catch it, bro.
Nah, you just said it all weird. I was about to say like, look at what we bring y'all, all these things, but then you was like the people. Look, man, we not trying to mind control the people to say the Twilight Zone. What up, people?
Hey, man, the people. All for the people. That's the name of the episode.
All for the people. All for the people. What up?
So, recommended and review. That's when we get to interact with y'all, man. This is where we take any recommended things that are suggested, things that we should watch from the crowd, man, for the people. So, y'all guys, please hit us up. Let us know anything that you think we should talk about. Hit us up on any of our DSPs, which is where you can find this show. Don't forget to subscribe, share, like, comment, review, and everything else that people do these days, man. Yo, speaking of which, actually, there's like a very serious, I don't want to call it algorithm war, but there is a very serious change in the way these algorithms on these platforms are doing. I don't know if you've noticed that.
Speak on it.
Like on Instagram, for instance, right? It was brought to my attention that the simple algorithms that it would take to be able to get your content reposted and on the explore page, which is where all the hot stuff is. There's a whole algorithm that you have to go to, and it was broken down to me in this way, and I exaggerated not. Okay, maybe I exaggerated a bit, but you have to post 10 times, you have to post 10 stories a day. You need to do 2 pictures a week. You need to do 5 somethings a day. Essentially, you have to be using very rigorously all of the tools that Instagram puts out. And that's the only way to be able to get your content like consistently reposted.
Wow. You know, it doesn't surprise me that there's something like that in place, but I mean, also doesn't surprise me, but never ceases to amaze me, is your willingness to take on for this podcast all the responsibilities that are required to take this thing to the next level. And I'm just so proud of you for doing the homework on this, figuring out what the issue is, and jumping ahead of it. I'm just overwhelmed, as you can see, as you can hear.
You know, Miles
Only
Xavier,
up.
I appreciate you appreciating how much I carry the load for this podcast. You know,
It means
it's been so.
so much to me. Thank you.
Yo,
Look at what he
you have
does for the people. Look at what he does for the people. People, look, this is a gift, right? Let's just take a moment to accept this gift of content from
listen.
my co-host and Capitan. Hey man, just hold on, man. Just let it soak in for a second that you're gonna do this for us.
Yo, I've been so trash on that, man. I gotta come clean. Look, people, we're a work in progress. All right, listen, we never said we're perfect. We said we're trying. That's what we're doing. We're trying. But that being said, you know, not to completely skip over that, but like, I think it's very interesting because I think that's where people are now going to migrate based on this, where content is easily, where the contents are, at least let's say the algorithms are more fair. You know, you hear people complaining on Spotify too, that to get onto those playlists, it's all payola, where a free market is what people were hoping it would be.
So, I think first of all, it's important to just acknowledge that it's. I think this podcast especially puts a priority on quality over quantity, right? And so 10 stories a day, 2 pictures a day, if that's what, like, you know, that's the type of stuff that you have to do to build a following, to just get your content out and visible, then that's something that we can definitely work in. But I think it's important, I think it's more important for us to develop the quality of the content so that there are 10 quality things readily available, rather than trying to fill 10 story slots a day with something and hope that it's good. You know what I mean? So I'm cool with content first and then to match the number. So as much as, you know, it's funny to like say that, you know, I don't want to do that because of who I am as a person and because I feel like that generates a lot of fluff. I do think that there's also a rhyme and a reason and a way to do that in a way that not only reflects the values and the quality of content this podcast wants to put out, but also the patience that we both have in building things that we care about.
For sure. Taking the conversation even, you know, bigger than our podcast in particular, I think it has an interesting impact, let's say an interesting effect on the type of content that we see that do come out from the various podcast channels that we do follow and things like that. A lot of them are turning very gossipy and turning very clickbaity. And it does, to an extent, dilute the value, the true value of the product. You know, and it's always going to be a tight line to rope, but it was just something very fascinating that I came upon, and I think it speaks to the options that creators have and how to be able to create true content without having to adhere to all of these nonsense social media algorithms and everything like that. It's going to be interesting to see where that takes on, where that goes.
I think a lot of people do have beautiful, wonderful things to contribute, right? And I think we're trying to all funnel that through very few sources. YouTube, Instagram, right? Like people who are artists, people who are directors, people who are animators, people who are, you know what I mean? And it all gets funneled through. So there's such an overwhelming sea of content there that on one hand, you need the algorithm to sort through it for you to even be able to find anything that you care about. But on the other hand, it does mean that people who are genuine artists in a lot of ways, or who don't care about anything algorithm related and just care about the art that they're making, do always get pushed toward what's popular. Even this podcast, we've had conversations about not wanting to do current events, but finding more and more that one, current news lends toward things that we can speak on in a good way, but also too that there is just kind of this force that pushes you to chase, you know, in order to build momentum, everything that is already a movement, everything that's already a trending topic.
Yeah, and it makes me think about the Matrix. You know how all of us end up just becoming these lines of data, and it all seems so obscure when it first came out. But truth be told, is that our identification on the data sphere and the internet, which is essentially the world at this point, is an algorithm based on our preferences. Really, that's the entire purpose of the algorithm, is just to be able to get you into a state of staying on your phone, either purchasing, buying, engaging, clicking. That is the entire purpose of that algorithm. And I think what we're seeing is a lot of these content houses essentially adhere to that, and adhere to the fact that you need to feed the algorithm with these datas, and you need to post this amount of times, you need to repost, you need to engage in this way. And it does dilute the content, but I do think that there is a movement towards quality content. I have a full belief that people are really, really wanting to go into quality, and so I think the cream is always going to rise to the top, baby.
I think that's true over time. I think what we're seeing right now is people, like I was saying, I don't think Instagram is necessarily the right framework for all of these different creators. And so I think we've seen other apps start to kind of approach the level of influence that Instagram has as startups like TikTok, but that's even shorter form content. I think things like Patreon, and if we want to get into the conversation of Joe Budden moving to Patreon, if we're going to talk big business news on this podcast, black business news on this podcast, I think we can do
Gotta
that.
love it.
But I think, I think as you see, people, that desire is going to have to continue to boil over until it's clear that Instagram is no longer the platform and somebody else has the ability to build something that is a better house for long form content of various kinds.
Yeah, yeah. And speaking of people that keep producing content, a rapper put a diamond on his head this week, and the people want us to break that down. That was hot news on the streets. $24 million in in the middle of Lil Uzi's head. What I found interesting about it is every time I'd go into these different, we do research, right, for this podcast. So every time I go to these different news outlets and whatnot, just the way that they describe an unknown rapper, it's like, yo, just what I was like, I do not need to know about Lil Uzi's diamond on CNN. I do not need to know about that.
That's interesting. What was your first reaction to it when you saw it? What did you think? I don't want to say that you automatically judge people, but like,
I judged it.
Yeah.
I judged it. I thought it was stupid.
You thought it was stupid?
I thought it was stupid.
For safety reasons or for like just gaudy reasons, or
chief among them for safety reasons? I'm like, fam, rappers are getting killed for way less. That is just irresponsible, is what my initial reaction was.
Yeah, there's just something to be said about the irony of rap bars that kind of permeate the culture, and for somebody to put that amount of money on their own head in this time is just a little bit
ironic.
On the nose, on the forehead, I guess. But it's crazy, man. People talk about like The Simpsons predicting different events that have happened over time, and there's a Rick and Morty episode where he gets this crystal and plants it on the middle of his forehead, and it looks super similar. And I just think life is becoming a cartoon in so many ways, but not a kid's cartoon.
It's X-rated and dudes are dying.
Yeah, this is some Adult Swim shit that we're seeing right now. And
everywhere.
To me, I saw that and I was like, bro, of all the things that you could do with $24 million, put it on your face. And it's just like, hey, look, man, I want to always check myself from ever counting anybody else's pockets. But it's also just like a thing of like, look, man, I don't know how much charity you do. I don't know how much joy that $24 million thing in your head brings you, but like, I know people in so many ways that could use that, that could do something with that. You know what I mean? Like a piece of that, a fraction of that, a carat of that. You know what I mean? Like that,
Yeah.
it's a statement, but I took the statement also as kind of like, fuck anybody who could use this money.
You see, I didn't take it that way. And actually, I don't fault anybody for making investments like that, right? Because the reality of it is it's an expensive diamond piece. I'm sure it's appraised very well. I'm sure that, you know, the value of that piece is going to go up, if anything, by virtue of the fact that he's bought it, right? I mean, rich people have been collecting diamonds and purchasing jewelry for investment purposes and for jewelry purposes for a very long time. We look at the UK. I mean, the Queen has a massive, massive emerald on her head. You know what I'm saying? So I was not mad at it for its purchasing value. Again, we do not know how much charity people do. And on this podcast, what we always say is that, look, do the charity that satisfies you. Just as long as you're doing something. Now, maybe, you know what I mean? It's different in that way. It's all to say, just from a irresponsible point, it's like, bro, this is such a dangerous time for rappers. They're shooting real killers, and you're gonna put
Maybe
a gun on your
part
head.
of it. Maybe that's part of it. Maybe it's like, maybe part of why I took it as such a slight to people who could use it is that, like, it's almost as if you don't know how hungry the streets are. It's almost as if it hasn't been demonstrated over the last 18 months and beyond how desperate people are, what desperate situations people are finding themselves in. Like, and that being a rapper does not protect you at all from that. So I think part of it was like almost a deep-seated, like, bro, like, why would you, now if I watch you get now if 2 weeks from now somebody tried to pull this thing off of your head and you died, right? Like, now you making me feel conflicted about this, and I shouldn't even have to be going through this, but you're a black man, and it's like, why did you do this to yourself? Why do we keep doing this to ourselves, but in the dumbest way? Like, I don't need that. I don't need to see that. And this looks like part one of a two-part sad ass story.
Yeah, it's sad how we're getting a lot of those coming up recently. But let's damn, I forgot what I was gonna say. Hold on, it's come back. And it was such a good point too.
Hey, look, this is something that we want to appreciate y'all for having patience with us as we get ready to bring you back the fire content that my boy just remembered.
I just remembered it.
And forgot it again. You never know what you're gonna get on this podcast. It's a roller coaster of emotions.
You gotta stop talking before it leaves my head again. You gotta stop talking before it leaves my head. I was actually gonna touch on the reality of having a lot of yes men around you, right? Because, like, that's definitely a thing as well too, where you can create this world and bubble around you, and have people that just simply go by and agree with that. If I propose that to you, like, hey, Miles, I'm gonna come through and I think, bro, I'm invest $24 million in this diamond piece I'm gonna put in the middle of my head, that would be a very hard one to be able to get past you.
Yeah, no. I'll be like, hey, bro, where you gonna live? People put diamonds in what? In safes. You know what's on your forehead? Not a safe. Matter of fact, that is unsafe. Don't do that. I'll try to break it down to as logically as I could. Don't do that.
Yeah, but also, like, let's not forget, if we move away from just the conversation of just that particular gaudy piece of jewelry, and you look at the history and lineage of jewelry, you know, just this very loud, obscene jewelry is something that is a cultural, there's cultural background to that, right? And it's important to point that out as well, because although there's personal preference, there's something to be said about things that have been practiced before you, right? I mean, the oldest piece of jewelry they found in the southern tip of Africa is 75,000 years old.
That's beautiful.
It's 75,000 years old.
So I think it's beautiful, bro, that anytime anybody that is rich and famous, uses that the freedom that financial stability can provide to get in touch with their heritage in whatever way. And if this had been something that we saw him walking around with, or maybe we saw in a music video that it was on his head, and people started to speculate and then found out how much it was, then it would be like, oh, okay, maybe that's different. Maybe he was doing this. Maybe that's just a piece that he really liked, and maybe it does mean something to him. But this was a rollout. This was a, look what I just copped. This is how much it costs. Yeah, if they yank it off my head, I might die. No, I ain't worried about that. It oozes everything we were talking about in terms of that, just that push for attention, the economy of attention, right? And even to the truest sense, an economy of attention, as you said. Him making that, it looked like you just dropped weed. Got sad as hell.
Dude, I just did. Oh, I'm so sad. It hurt my feelings.
Nigga, sad as shit. I was like, I know that's sad. It's like, I want to keep listening. I want to keep hearing your story. But all I'm thinking about is that's part of me now.
Oh, dude, you do not know how accurate what you're talking about is. Please go on, sir.
Oh, dude. What was I saying? Uzi,
the need for attention of the economy for attention. And you're right about that. So.
Yeah, in the true sense, the economy of attention, as you were saying, that if by buying the piece, people, it might increase in value just because of the attention that's been brought to it. He owned it. You know what I mean? Like, an economy of attention, I think, is an important thing to just let resonate.
Indeed. And just
watch
watch out for the sun on your head. The sunshine. All right, perfect, man. Perfect. Well, kudos to that man. Kudos to that man. Hey, yo, if we're getting into the current news section now, man, the current news section, Jeff Bezos to resign as chief executive of Amazon. Now, we're pulling this information straight from The Guardian, which says Jeff Bezos, billionaire founder of Amazon, will step down.
Is about to read.
And you know, before I read, the real ceremony is to take my glasses off first and put them on.
Back on.
As I'm about to read. It's important to tell the fans that I'm reading by virtue of Miles being illiterate.
That's true. And also, I do not have glasses because I'm also the ignorant type of person that would put them on even though he's reading. So I just have no privileges over here.
So, Jeff Bezos, billionaire founder of Amazon, will step down as chief executive, the company announced on Tuesday. Bezos, who will remain chief executive chair, will hand the reins to Andy Jassy, chief executive of Amazon Web Services, the company's fast-growing cloud computing business. Bezos has stepped back from the day-to-day running of Amazon in recent years to pay more attention to his other interests, including space exploration and his ownership of the Washington Post. But his departure as chief executive was unexpected.
Give it to him. I know you know what's going on. Because I looked at the story and I said, I saw a man leaving a building with a bag. And so I looked and I touched my bag. I looked at the building I was in, and I realized I ain't in the same building as that man. Let me chill out. But I just saw a man leaving a building with a bag. What did you see?
Hey man, I'll say it like this, right? First let's talk on the public perception that's come out, and it's only just to invite a conversation that everybody's having, right? And that conversation is just. He stepped down. What's going to happen to Amazon is not the boss. And even though like a lot of these things are rudimentary to explain to people, it's still important to be able to understand what.
Give him that sauce. This is rudimentary.
No, but Miles, it's important. It's important to address ignorance accurately, right? Because that's an ignorant statement to think that Jeff Bezos is no longer a decision maker or an active part of Amazon, right? Which brings me actually to the conversation that we had, which is the value of being able to operate multiple positions at the same time.
That is important. And it's important to like if you find a position that gives you the space, a lot of times in corporate it's referred to as work life balance, right? You have one job that might be your main 9 to 5 if you're fortunate, uh, and that's able to support you, then you might look to have the ability to, yeah, engage in some other things. Now, for a lot of people, uh, that one job is not enough, and so a side hustle becomes necessary, right? So there's a variety of ways that you can do that. I think Uber is a huge one that people are starting to do. People are starting podcasts. People are monetizing their content in a whole bunch of different ways. I got a homegirl that's selling scarves. I got a homegirl that's OnlyFans. Yeah, that's another way that people is getting to it. I can read it all on your face. She should have OnlyFans, but them scarves is popping too. Shout out you. What up, Smart Cheek? Um, I think, yeah, man. I think we're definitely. I forgot what I was talking about, man. You took me in a whole different direction, bro.
Oh, word! I took you there. I literally didn't say anything. You started diving into the OnlyFans bag all by yourself.
Damn, I knew what you meant. I knew.
I didn't mean to throw you down that deep rabbit hole, but I think the point that you were getting to is, the different ways in that people juggle side hustles and side jobs and whatnot.
Yeah, I think the way that I was going to wrap that up is that figure out what you love, to do, and try and monetize that. I think that's what we're doing here with the podcast. I think there's a variety of ways that we're doing that, focusing around loving helping people and loving that helping people can help you get money if you do it the right way.
Yeah.
It's enough to live, and yeah, man, it's a beautiful thing to be supported by that. So get it how you live. And turn what you do, make people pay you for what you would do anyway. That sounds simple, but make people pay you for it.
And what we'll be doing is bringing some content that's true to Miles' heart and starting a Miles Xavier OnlyFans. So be sure to check that out at Miles_Xavier/OnlyFans. He'll be doing all sorts of things. Can you just break down to the people what your OnlyFans page exactly will hold?
Thank you for that beautiful introduction, Zway. I know a lot of you guys out there have been wondering how it sounds when I listen to like top 40 music and be thinking it's trash because I'm a music snob and I love all my underground shit. So what I'll be doing, I'll be recording my reactions to like Taylor Swift, all types of, just what y'all love, man, and I'll just be shitting on it. So if you want to tune into that, tune into my OnlyFans. Word.
It ain't the only thing you'll be shitting on, Miles. Go ahead and tell them what else you'll be. That's ridiculous. Yeah.
I'll be writing down all of Zway's jokes and times he comes at me on the podcast, and I'll be shitting on those notes as well.
Yo, but to take it back into what some of the observations that I thought would be interesting to bring about is the necessity, at least what I'm seeing as the necessity of being able to hold multiple different positions at the same time, especially at an executive level, right? It's the multifacetedness of being able to juggle things. I mean, taking it, you don't have to go all the way to the top tech people. There's those examples are around us. So much like you had spoken about a side hustle, that's the same thing, but just going to an executive level, sitting on different boards, starting various companies. And then when I see Bezos do that, I think it's just a testament again into the formula that it takes for, let's say, that type of success, right? If that's the success that you're looking for, the ability to be multifaceted in that way is important. Now, I wonder if you are solely in corporate, and we're seeing it now more because of lockdown, that people have started their own side hustles and selling T-shirts and bakeries and anything like that, and I fully support that. But I think prior to lockdown, being in corporate, it was almost very difficult for people to be able to do that.
Yeah, I think it depends on. Well, I think we're going to be faced with a lot of new realities, right? Whatever new normal ends up looking like, and one of them is going to be that I know at one point I was working for a corporate job that I very much wanted to work remote and very much felt like I could do my job completely remote, and they were very anxious about allowing people to do that, although it was something that I think was getting pushed for by young professionals that were entering the job marketplace. They were very hesitant to do that, I think, just because of an old system of wanting to have your employees there and visible and being able to observe that they're working, or at least pretending like they're working if you're their manager and you're walking by, right? Yes. And for some people do need that office environment to stay focused and like that and prefer that. But I think the new reality that we're going to face is the fact that a lot of companies, the majority, I think, of major corporations that aren't manufacturing can do a lot, and even a lot of major manufacturers can do a lot of their corporate structure can be moved completely remote. And that's going to mean a lot for job transition and who's looked at in the pool of jobs. But it also means that, yeah, corporations are going to have to continue, I think, to allow for that work-life balance in the ways that technology makes it possible. I think you can't put that genie back in the bottle at this point. So I think you're right. I think people's ability to explore those side hustles has increased during COVID, and I think that will only continue to expand. They'll try.
Yeah,
They'll try and snatch your time back, people. Watch out. But
and I like how you're pushing how it's led by young professionals, and that's something that I'm a big advocate for, which is pushing the unconventional work balance. You know, being able to occupy different positions at the same time, and you know how to juggle that and balance that. I think it's important to show people that like that is possible to do. Like this antiquated system of you know, wake up, go to your 9 to 5, go home, whatever. And maybe that is speaking from a place of privilege, you know, and maybe the privilege comes from being able to see the world in that manner. But it is a reality. And I do think that a lot of people, that's the future for us. The future for us is a open, massive commerce, global commerce, where people are able to really have a life that they want to have by being able to balance out all the things that they need to balance out and being able to sell things online in different places. You know, we're seeing the quick move into crypto and blockchain and all that. That's all speaking to a bigger economy. And I think that's dope, man. Get people out of those offices, yo.
free the office people.
Free the homies.
But I think free the cast of the office. I think it's you're circling around the word diversification, right? And I think that works in an economic portfolio sense in terms of investing, but I also think that works in terms of streams of income, right? So not only should your investing portfolio be a stream of income, right, and not just letting your money sit and making it work for you, but you should also have multiple streams of income in addition to investing. Try and find something in addition to your whatever job you feel like is your primary that brings home the bacon, right? Now, I do want to acknowledge that there are a lot of people that work 2 jobs and don't like neither of them, but got to do both because it was the jobs that they could find. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And to y'all, I would say salute, keep trapping, but stay active. You know, I think again, running to technology, I think LinkedIn. If you build up your profile, build up your resume, you'll get notifications for jobs in your lane that might be a positive move for you. So just keep hustling, keep pushing, and know that, you know, you can do it. And know that I think, as we spoke a little bit about last week with GameStop and Reddit, that all of these financial instruments, investing is for you, buying real estate is for you, owning and not renting is for you, no matter who you are. You know what I mean? You might have to build to get there. You might have to grind to get there. You might have to work harder than a lot of people that you see that have what you want. But do that. Know that you can do it, because none of this stuff is not for us. They want us to feel like that, and they've kept it from us and not taught a lot of us that aren't old money, a lot of these things. But it's all for all of us. Power to the people. Free to cast that office.
Yo, look, for real, though, that whole LinkedIn portion of it, I think is dope. And if people don't know where to start with that, please, by all means, you know, go ahead, look at mine, copy mine if you like the way that it looks. Look at Maslow's, copy Miles if you like the way that it looks.
G. That's what you should do. You should throw your resume up.
Where though?
You just add it. Just put it on just link to it in the IG. We can put it in the link in the description for a little bit. Just throw that up. I think that would be
I am the resume. What do the people want to know? What do the people want to know? I tell them right now what they want to know.
That's another way that we could do that. Then we could do a video that's just like a 30-second rundown of your resume. That would be lit. I think that would be lit. And I think that would be a nice little a small welcome mat for anything that might be coming very soon.
Hey, and if anything wants to come soon, let it be known that my brother Miles and I are quite the corporate fellas.
The fellas, indeed, we do the corporate,
We're quite the corporate fellas.
corporate here, corporate over here, corporate water.
I know what I said about free the people out of corporate and corporates are evil and all of that. No, I said all that. But that being said, feel free to bring that corporate bag over to the All the Way Live podcast. We know what to do with those.
We do know what to do with those. And if you have a bag that you need in the hands of the people, we the people will receive that bag. Holla at us, you know what I'm saying? But I do think we should give them a rundown of your resume. I think that would be lit.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, likewise, right? I think what's important, like, let me speak on the value of our friendship, right? Is that I have somebody who I can who I know holds me accountable by virtue of their actions and where they're going and how hard they're working and the things that they're doing, right? And so I had a conversation with a friend earlier, and he was earlier this week, and they were talking about the value of like real friendship, especially among men, and a friendship that can push you and whatnot. And so it's definitely, we've worked very, very hard in this very short life that we've lived, and having a circle of friends that are equally pushing as hard and equally as focused on the right type of accomplishments has been an absolute blessing for that, man. And for that, we're doing what we love, and that's cool. And that's the freedom part of it. That's dope. That's the biggest accomplishment. That's the biggest resume. Is that every day we wake up doing exactly what we love.
1,000%. And some days, like I say, some days I'm Dame, sometimes you Jay, sometimes you Hove, sometimes it be all switched up, man. And I just be watching it grow, and it's like, it's amazing to feel something progress and feel like you have a true co-pilot in the sense that both how you want to grow as a person and how you want to grow professionally can be seamless. You know what I mean? And can just flow, and I think it speaks to what a lot of relationships could benefit from, and that's an understanding of, like, hey man, some days you're gonna be the rudder of the boat, you know what I mean, and I'm gonna be just looking for land, and I'll tell you when I see land, but you gotta kick. Some days I'm gonna be the one kicking, and you're gonna be the one looking for land, you know what I mean? And it's just being able to have that exchange and understand that a relationship is not always 50-50. It bounces back and forth, you know what I mean? And I hope that people out there are inspired by the people that they surround themselves with, because you will only get as far as the people that you hang out with for no reason.
That's a fact. And I want to extend that sense of community out to the people that listen to this podcast. I think that's the whole purpose, is to be able to build this community of people that are creatives, that are thinkers, people that are trying to change things, and people that are, living with a purpose, and also in just genuine lovers of life, and I think that's the energy that we bring into this podcast on every episode. And I'm always glad when I hear people come back and talk about the positive nature of this podcast, because that's all curated. So we all push each other and we get better. I mean, the fans are pushing us to get better with this content every week.
Hey, bro.
We rely on them.
We're going to keep giving it to them. See, I told y'all we was going to tell y'all what we do for y'all, man. We're going to keep bringing y'all this content. We're going to keep upping the ante on the quality, and we hope that y'all continue to rock with us, continue to be patient, continue to contribute to the conversations with your recommendations. And, we appreciate Live Nation. You tuned into any station, but we're glad that you're here rocking with us. Feels like vacation, just at work. This is dope.
Can we get a gunshot one time?
Can we get a gunshot? I think we can get one. Now. One for the squad. Hold up. One for the people.
Thank you. Moving right along. We got recommendeds and review. Miles, Malcolm and Marie.
This man was about to say Malcolm in the Middle. It was
Malcolm
fire.
in the Middle, Miles. Did you watch it? The fans are asking us to review Malcolm in the Middle. Damn, what an old show.
Yeah, man, what a throwback. Malcolm and Marie.
Fam,
Can I be honest?
tell me, dude.
I don't know if I'm ready to see Zendaya all like that. I don't know if I'm ready to see that. I didn't watch Euphoria. I didn't get no transition. She still look little to me. I don't know if I was gonna believe it. Watch it. I didn't know. Felt weird. Felt strange.
Yo, first you got to get over that. You got to get over that.
She gets real nasty in there, huh?
Not even, bro. Not even. It really it doesn't get nasty in that sense. But what it does get is,
It looked very 50 Shades of Brown in the trailer. I'm gonna be honest with you.
and I think the trailer is doing it disjustice. I think the trailer is doing it a lot of disjustice. I always like to go into something without seeing any expectations, hearing anything, so I can make my own comments and views about it. And I think that is a brilliant movie. I think that is a brilliant movie.
Can you expound on that a little bit without spoilers?
Yeah, you see, I'm trying to tiptoe around it, but essentially, let me speak on it from a technical point of view. From a technical point of view, the way the movie is shot is brilliant. The setting the setting is great. The cinematography that went into it, in the way that it was shot and in the conversation that was put into there, is very, very impressive. What I will find very interesting is that throughout the whole movie, I did not know who the director was and thought it was a black director, and it turned out to be Sam Levinson, who's the same dude that directed Euphoria. Right? I find that very, very interesting. You haven't seen Euphoria, but if you've watched Euphoria and you see that, I think what I can say without spoiling anything is that sometimes when you're watching a great movie, especially a movie that's trying to reach and deliver something that is quite far out, or as Australians would say, far out.
All right.
You know what I'm saying? You can see the trust that the actress or the actor has with the director in the vision. And what you see in that display from Zendaya's performance is complete trust in the director. It's reminiscent to me of Uma Thurman in Kill Bill, and the same extension of trust into doing something that is a off kilter and out of the actress's comfort zone, but totally throwing themselves into it. And I think that's brilliant to see, man. John David Washington is next up.
I'm trying to go into this movie without expectations, and then you compare it to Kill Bill.
That's not even the only one I'm going to compare it to, too. Mo Better Blues.
Wow. You putting it up there. I'll have to give it a look. That's yeah, that's one I'll have to find a way to take in. I don't know if I could just throw that on after the podcast and just watch that.
You can. You definitely. Nah, it's too bright outside for you. You need the lights off for that.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'll have to find the right atmosphere for it, but I'll give that a look.
You need to find that. I was also gonna say the critics, the review. It's been very interesting to see what the review has been from people. People are the reviews are mixed and matched.
What are the negative comments about? Not to focus on the negative, but I imagine the positive comments are a lot of the things that you said. The acting, the cinematography, the directing.
That it's boring, that it's pointless, that it overlooks it feels like a black movie done. It feels like a black movie, and it's directed by a white person. That's some of the gripes that people have had, and I don't want to say any much more on that without off tilting the balance of off tilting like expectations. But those are some of the critics that they had on it. But that being said, I found it to be a fantastic movie. And if you like cinema and if you like cinematography, and you are a fan of, let's say, conversation-based films, I think this might be something you'd be interested in. Also, something great to be able to watch with the wifey, but not on Valentine's Day. Don't watch it on Valentine's Day.
Thank you for the heads up. Appreciate that. Thank you on behalf of the people. The little things.
Talk to us. That's the new Denzel movie, right?
We're not just gonna skip over the fact that I'm the only one that watched this movie. Yeah, a movie starring Denzel Washington done came out. It's been out 2 weeks. I feel like it's a disservice to this podcast and to our Denzel stanism to not have that you didn't watch it. So
We are peak Denzel stands. Apologies, Live Nation.
Perfect.
Apologies.
moving forward, it's a really good. I feel like anytime I'm talking about a movie on this podcast, man, I'm talking about a movie that I thoroughly enjoyed that I think would frustrate a lot of people. And maybe that's just my taste. I loved the ending of The Sopranos. I love. I'm a fan of ambiguity. I'm a fan of movies that don't give you the whole puzzle. That put most of it together and give you a few pieces that you have to kind of piece together, maybe on a rewatch or just sitting talking after the movie. So that often means an ending that if you're just looking for a popcorn flick won't be satisfying because it leaves you kind of with an unsettled feeling and a lot to unravel yourself. But I really enjoyed that. So Rami Malek is our young sport skip tiger slick detective. You know what I mean? And Denzel Washington is our older grizzled, seen some things and some stuff type detective.
I'm getting too old for this shit, detective.
Denzel looks like he's getting too old for this shit in this movie. And if I hadn't seen him so recently in the Ma Rainey's Black Bottom kind of like behind the scenes, I'd be like, man, Denzel. But they purposely made him look very old and very retired, right? He looks very retired in this movie. But acting wise, come on,
Denzel.
you already know what's going on. I think Rami did a good job of holding his own presence, with Denzel. A lot of times Denzel can swallow whole scenes. So I think and even Jared Leto, in his scene. What's up? Did a good job of just really bringing the characters to life. And it wasn't like too complicated of a movie. It feels like Zodiac, but there's a lot of things about Zodiac that you're just kind of feeling confused the whole movie.
Zodiac's also a boring movie.
Yeah, it depends. If you really don't like dialogue, right? It's all dialogue.
It's dialogue that's built around false suspense.
But you only know that because after the first time you've seen it.
Yeah, nothing happens. It's very anticlimactic.
Yeah, for sure. But I think, well, there's room to talk about shows like, what was it? The one
True
that was on
Detective.
HBO. No, it's True Detective always. Except for
Brilliant.
season. I don't know what the heck they did with season 2.
Yeah, season 1, season 3, brilliant.
Yeah, but no, I was talking about the what was the one that we was just watching with the man and then
Your Honor,
just dies? Nah, right before Your Honor, his
The
mistress
Enlightened.
died. The what?
The Enlightened?
No. His homeboy and his mistress dies, and then they're trying to figure out who killed the mistress, and it could be the wife, the son. You don't remember this?
Oh, that's what I thought I was referring to. It's not The Enlightened? Something like that?
No, but that also has a very anticlimactic ending, and I feel like a lot of I feel like every time I'm on this podcast, I'm talking about something that ends like that, that's unsettling, that leaves you wanting more, and I feel like a lot of people just aren't that way. A lot of people give me a conclusion, give me closure, give me, let me know that it's time to roll credits before you just roll credits, right? So I dug it. I think you watch it, and if you go into it with anything, just know that Denzel is one of the most watchable people I think in the world. So it's not you're not going to have a hard time getting through it, unless maybe you put it on at night and go to sleep because
Hey, man.
it's dark and dreary, and it's good. Great movie, great flick.
Where,
Cinematic.
where else?
What
Where
up?
else? I said, where else?
Somewhere in the Jeff Bezos conversation, I was supposed to mention Miss Rosalind Brewer, who just left Starbucks for Walgreens, I believe, and became the only black woman to be CEO of a Fortune 500 company. So shout out to her.
Gunshots, please.
That's major moves. You know what I'm saying? We always support that type of work. That's hard. So, but we need, I think we're talking in this country about Congress and the House of Representatives and Kamala Harris becoming vice president and that being a landmark, but also leaving no women of color within the. I saw that. We can lick a shot for Kamala Harris. It might be even too appropriate though with her record on policing. You know what I'm saying? So we can revisit that topic another time. But man, I think we need to continue to support our sisters that are doing amazing things. So salute, shout out, love. We are fanboys.
Indeed. And if we're gonna keep congratulating people, shout out to Joe Budden for being on the executive, creative director, chief ethics, some at Patreon, some executive job, man. I think the more it's infiltrate big money, man. You know, that's the move, is being able to get as many of our voices into the positions of power to be able to determine the fair distribution of wealth into our people. Anytime anybody takes a step into that, we congratulate it. Can I please get a gunshot, please?
Yes, sir. We are
perfect.
We're out here for the creatives, man. You know what I'm saying? We're out here for the creators. We're out here for just the person that wants in. I feel like for a lot of my life, I wanted in on a lot of things. I wanted in on some of them were dumb. I wanted in on poker. I wanted in on gambling. You know what I mean? I wanted in on just Wall Street and, buying stocks. And there are various things that I've wanted in on, but felt like they specifically weren't for me. So shout out to all the people that are kicking down doors into spaces that, they've been peeking through windows in for a while.
Hey, man, we appreciate that. And we know.
Oh, we know. We are more than aware
of
how many options that y'all have with choosing a podcast, man. Look, man, it's podcast popping up all over the place, man. I saw a podcast yesterday on ring lights, just on ring lights. It's crazy, man. It was deep. And I realized that I appreciate everybody who's listening to this, man. Y'all tuned into us. Y'all trying to figure stuff out with us. Then we know that that this is a celebration of life. Celebration of Black life. Celebration of celebrating. Man, it feel good to be Black. Don't it feel good, Zway?
My favorite thing.
So look, y'all, man, this is what I want y'all to do. I want y'all, if y'all in the Chi-City area, bundle up, because it's cold. You can watch The Little Things. You can watch Malcolm and Marie. But just get right. Get you some soup. Get you some. Get right. And if you on the African side, then
it's cold too.
It's -3 degrees over here, bro. It ain't cold over there. Look, get
Nah. It's raining, dude. It's raining, dog. It's real. It's good. It's raining.
I just advise self-care for everybody, man. Look, man, people are out here getting sick. People are out here, just it's crazy times. Sit. Be still. I advise stillness. Now get on out of here, y'all Live Nation, man. Y'all little rascals. Get on out of here. Go ahead. Y'all, we appreciate y'all, man. Peace, love, water. We go.